respected corporate leaders, esteemed mentors, and valued participants. We are delighted to welcome you all to the inaugural day of Conventus 2024, the annual management conclave of International Management Institute, New Delhi. It is a profound honor to see you as a part of this prestigious leadership summit on sales and business development. My co-host Aadhar and I, Nikita, will be your guide through this engaging and insightful experience.
Today, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment in a transformative journey with the potential to reshape industries and the global economic landscape. Our theme, India's $7 trillion ambition, how will India lead the next global economic wave, serves as a bold reminder of the immense potential that lies ahead. A nation that is not only rising, but poised to spearhead the next wave of global growth. As we explore the path forward, we will focus on the key drivers of this transformation. Let us embark on today's session not merely with a sense of optimism, but with a resolute commitment to transform India's vast potential into substantial advancements. The discussions we engage in and the relationships we cultivate today will echo well beyond this venue, potentially shaping the trajectory of global economic history. Before we proceed further into the session, let us have a look at the Conventus video.
A nation like no one, with people of unlimited potential, is on the brink of unprecedented glory. The story of India is one of ups and downs, of navigating challenges and managing conflicts, of finding harmony amidst chaos. Now, the stage is set. India has dared to dream, a dream of becoming a $7 trillion economy.
The unstoppable force behind this long journey has been the people of the country. The next chapter in India's history will be marked by
GDP, growth driven by people. The people are the engines of our economy. The key to success for businesses is to convert their potential into purpose. When human resources are empowered and engaged, real value is unlocked and dreams are turned into reality.
It's time to explore the best practices of the businesses that have made a mark by being of the people, for the people, by the people. So, let us be all ears for their stories and ideas and learn from their rich experiences.
What an incredible video that was! As we continue, our next video will take a closer look at our sub-theme, which will dive into how the three pillars are key to driving sustainable growth in an ever-evolving business landscape. Let's turn our attention to the screen once again for this insightful video.
India, a land of relentless energy, innovation, and diversity. A nation where progress moves at the speed of light, where dreams and ambitions collide to create a future of limitless possibilities.
In the heart of this vibrant landscape, our journey to becoming a $7 trillion economy is unfolding, one step at a time, driven by the unstoppable momentum of our people, our businesses, and our vision for tomorrow.
From bustling factories to cutting-edge tech parks, from traditional markets to the vast digital ecosystem, India's economy is growing faster than ever before. The stage is set for something extraordinary.
We, the Academics Committee, proudly presents the Sales and Business Development Summit, where ideas ignite, strategies take shape, and leaders gather to explore the triads of success. Join us as we drive the path to a thriving future embracing innovation, agility, and growth to drive our nation forward.
In the light of the main theme of Conventus 2024, Academics Committee invites our esteemed guests to discuss the impact of business agility, embracing digital pioneering, and accelerated sales growth for a competitive edge, particularly on their application on Indian economy and how these three together align with the vision. For this, to share with us their valuable insights on this topic, we are honored to have amongst us 5 senior corporate executives, and now we invite Professor D.K. Batra to welcome our panelists with a token of appreciation.
We are pleased to welcome Mr. Sam Chandy, Head of Sales Operations at Ola Electric, who brings over 15 years of expertise in growth, market expansion, and strategic leadership, and esteemed alumnus of IMI New Delhi. Mr. Chandy is known for his vision and impactful leadership. He has a proven track record of guiding teams, enhancing customer value through strong partnerships, and driving sustained growth. His dedication to public speaking and mentorship further underscore his roles as an inspiring figure in today's business landscape.
Our next speaker has experience at companies like Oyo and BP and is currently serving as a senior director and heading the national retail sales at Pine Labs. Mr. Pratyush Raj has a rich background in business leadership roles. An XLRI MBA alumnus and electronics and communication engineer from NIT, he has been recognized as an Economic Times Young Leader and is a 2 times Obgem Scholar. Known for his expertise in retail sales and leadership hiring, Mr. Pratyush is also actively involved in Diversity, Equity and Inclusion Committee at the Bombay Chamber of Commerce.
We are delighted to welcome Mr. Gaurav Verma, Head of Business Development at SKF India and an accomplished alumnus of IMI New Delhi. Mr. Verma specializes in advancing growth and operational excellence within the vehicular aftermarket, with a strong focus on channel development, go-to-market transformation, and digital integration. His role is pivotal in driving efficiency and digitizing the value chain at SKF India, contributing significantly to the company's competitive edge.
Our next guest, with over 16 years of experience, Mr. Pranjal Srivastav, has a strong background in business solutioning, data analytics, and program management. As the group manager for strategic planning and analytics at Adobe, he oversees a cross-functional team that drives advanced analytics initiatives to improve sales effectiveness, retention, and customer success within Adobe's digital experience sector.
We are honored to welcome Mr. Karan Jora, a distinguished digital leader and Associate Vice President at Paytm Ads, as well as a respected alumnus of IMI New Delhi. With an impressive background in building profitable business ecosystems, Mr. Jora has spearheaded strategic initiatives within India's largest fintech group. His expertise in driving growth, profitability, and market adoption, combined with his prior leadership role as national head at Disney Hotstar, positions him as an exceptional guide in today's dynamic digital and business landscape. Esteemed guests and valued participants, it is now my distinct honor to introduce the moderator for today's summit. Please join me in welcoming Professor D.K. Batra, a distinguished professional whose expertise and insight will guide us through this important discussion. His vast experience and mentorship have been really valuable for the institution and makes him the perfect person to lead today's dialogue. Now I invite the Joint Secretary of the Academics Committee, Harshit Tewatia, to present Mr. D.K. Batra, sir, with the token of appreciation.
Okay. So I'm very honored and privileged to be here amongst these young doyens, as I call them, young because of my old age. But galaxy of individuals, I have never had such an exciting 1 hour that we had. We decided to meet 1 hour before, and most of them turned up 1 hour before. And it's been such an exhilarating knowledge sharing experience, right, with numbers, with anecdotal tales, with experiences shifting from one extreme to the other, from B2C to B2B. Breaking myths is something that I learned. So I grew up with myths that you were working for a bank and you couldn't shift to an FMCG company. All that has been demolished by each individual who's here, and they found time, and I'd like to thank them for such vast knowledge bits that they shared with me. And I'm sure for next 1 hour plus a few minutes of question answers, we'll learn to do that. One of the themes that emerged while we were writing this summit, and the students wrote the summit, so I'm not taking any claim to the title theme, was about business transformation. So post-COVID, we saw a lot of digital transformation happening. We understood the role of AI, which was abused, much abused, used, We looked at paradigm shifts to paradigm busters in terms of completely changing the the look of sales in terms of sales funnel getting totally different. Business fundamentals may have still remained the same as we were discussing with Karan and with Pranjal and Saurabh and Pratyush and Arun. Three of them are alumni, Sam. Looking at a vast array of topics. So we'll start with one of the topics which came up from the fact that I was reading this with numbers, something on by McKinsey, which said that if you were to look at digital business transformation, many companies, including Adobe, which is here, and they quoted that and they said 30% of productivity is increased and 5% of profits. Some of the other companies that are here may have experienced the same or not in terms of the same numbers, but I'm sure AI existed earlier. It's now in a much more vociferous, much more strong form, changing the dynamics of the way sales is done. I'm also like to quote Grant Cardone, who was my inspiration for doing all my sales MDPs that I do, with one starting on Monday again. He says that it's the top line of the business is sales. And salespeople have to put 10x time, which he writes in his grammatically error-prone book, but beautiful book on the relevance of 10x effort that you put into sales. So those fundamentals haven't changed, but the technology, which is the backdrop of that, has completely changed. So it is in this context, I would like to have divergent views of the panel. And my first question would be to Pratyush in terms of digital transformation which is happening. Mark Zuckerberg said that, if you don't take risks, then you don't, I don't remember the exact quote, but he said, move faster. So, yeah. So it's important that we look at this change and the risk which is associated with these digital transformation decision. And I also then request other panelists to join in with their experiences. I would also request them to look at some of the trials and tribulations they've had in building brands, failures that came along, the pain of building that brand and becoming successful with the first few lakhs that you got, and also the pain of Oyo that he went through. I remember where it just shot down to a few lakhs in the Corona times. Over to Pratyush for his comments on digital transformation and its impact on sales.
Yes, so thank you, sir. So first and foremost, in the room when we discussed one pointer that AI is coming, and so whether jobs will go or not. So making everyone smile, jobs are not going anywhere. AI is going to make us more efficient. Okay. And I will just touch upon, and I will go back 12 and a half years back in the history when I was an MT myself. So I was posted in somewhere called a place near Jalandhar. Okay, Hoshiarpur I was posted. And in those days, if you have to find a store, you are dependent upon the taxi wala and everyone to find the next lead of the store. How digital transformation has changed, that today on a click of the button, you have tens of apps which tells that the next store is present at this place, basis linkages with their account and everything. Today, a number of companies will just tell that an IC has to stand up, an individual contributor, a sales guy has to stand up, and he knows where to go, the person whom is meeting, what is his GST filing, okay, the person whom he is talking, what is worth, and basis that you can pitch 1, 2, 3, 4 products. Just imagine that to get this kind of an information, 12 years ago, you have to build all kind of relationships, which we talk about a lot in sales, building relationships to find out that data. Today, that data is available at a click of button, which a lot of other panelists will talk about data and sciences. So the whole thought process of sales itself is changing. Sales is no more a door knocking. A sales could be done sitting in a room on a LinkedIn, on an Instagram also. And that's what has transformed. The first thing, that sales is becoming more tech dependent than you think. If I go back 10 years back in history, saying someone that I am a sales guy, okay, post MBA, was more or less like a, the most looked down upon thing. Today, sales has evolved itself a lot. First thing. The second thing, that this transformation comes with a risk. when you are too much dependent upon tools, which we were discussing backstage also, you miss the basics of it, you miss the knowledge of it, okay? And that takes you away from the realities of the ground. So that two things, that first, digital transformation is going to make life easy in every aspect. I'm talking sales, it can be any part of the business that you may think around, your life is going to be easier because of tech. The second thing, if you don't understand why this tech is helping you, if you don't understand how to use that tech, then you are going behind also. So that's two things. Fundamentally on sales transformation, the risk associated. Coming to the OYO story fundamentally, so not just OYO, I would have, we would have seen the businesses grow and come back a lot, okay? Grow and then come back and then increase up, and that happens in every startup story, okay? And you would find that the world is very agile today. The word agility is the right word. And the only skill that helps you today, apart from obviously the academic knowledge and everything, is the resilience, because change will keep happening, okay? Today it's COVID, but COVID was not the first time that we saw a problem, okay? Let's go back to 2016. The whole GST laws changed. The whole country was put at a spread through. 2016 later half, their demonetization happened. That was again putting us all in the through. So changes have kept happening again and again. COVID is just that it is so much a visible example that we tend to take an example. The examples are far more than what we think. Okay. So changes will keep happening. You may be in a segment where you don't see the changes. Every time RBI releases a new guidelines, it changes the life of thousands of companies. If you see the recent news of Navi, what happened? RBI changed the rule, the whole structure is changing. And that's how it changes. So my pointer is that COVID is a beautiful story. OYO is a story which I would love to share in person rather than on the stage. But the stories keep happening. The beautiful thing is that whichever companies have been resilient, I worked in Castrol BP, hundreds of years, it's continuing. OYO went through the toughest of the time periods, continuing. Pine Labs, digital payments went up and down and down and up, and 22 years and continuing. So companies which are built on resilience, individuals who are built on resilience and ability to change as per change will have no issues. So digital transformation today is just starting, I feel so. Tomorrow it would become more at the pace of the things. If we are ready to change as per that, I don't think that it's an enemy to fight, it's an enemy to imbibe. And that's my views, Doctor.
Thank you, Pratish. So Pratish talked about this change that's happening due to digital transformation, and also the fact that it's reminded of the Charles Darwin's quote, which is about it's not the most intelligent and strongest people that survive, but the people who manage change are the ones who survive that change. Excellent point. I would like to invite Sam to throw his views, because he's come from very diverse background. Of course, they did share some part of the journey at IMI. So maybe talk about the role of not only AI, but also the business transformation as a whole, with which kind of agility the systems are changing the organization that's his work with. Over to Sam.
Yeah, guys, at the outset, it's an absolute pleasure to be here today in the evening. I think we've had a brilliant panel here, and being an alumnus, I think it's a very proud moment for me to be here. And thank you, sir, for the opportunity. I think going after Pratish is a little hard, because he pretty much stole all the points that I was planning on talking about. But nevertheless, I'll just give you a quick background into what I've done, and then I can get into picking up from where Pratish left. So I started my career in 2008 from campus as a management trainee with Vodafone. Got into sales, like how Pratish mentioned. At that point of time, management trainees had an option of doing either sales or marketing. Out of the batch of 47 MTs, 3 of us decided to do sales, and everyone decided to do everything else. But I think that was a pivotal moment. Taught me a lot of things. I think if people have a chance to do some amount of sales, you should try to do it. Earlier on, the better, is what I would say. Managed, like Pratish was talking about, roamed around remote parts of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, did my sales stint, moved on. Serendipity got me to Bangalore, started working with Diageo, which is the world's largest spirits company. Extensive time doing B2B sales, as well as key accounts and business development. As things may have it, the startup bug bit me around 2016. Decided to do my own 0 to 1 D2C eyewear e-commerce startup. Like I said, everyone has successes, everyone has failures. I had my fair share of learning. Luckily, it didn't burn a lot of money. My company got acquired, and I moved to another company and led a premium liquor retail chain. I was the CEO for that chain. We scaled from 7 crore to 70 crore in about 4 years. And again, serendipity. I was talking to someone from being able to, from core retail, I was thrown into quick commerce. I would say, very instrumental in making the first set of dark stores and quick commerce network live across India. I was involved in the South at first, and then in my next role, I was a national business head at Dunzo when we had close to about 120 dark stores in 2022. And from then on, moved to Ola Electric. Here I was lucky to lead the launch and operations of the country's largest company-owned, company-operated automotive retail network, right? So I've done telecom, some amount of alcobev, retail, quick commerce, automotive, as well as retail again, and now I lead I'm the category lead for the two-wheeler business at Ola Electric. It's the category that Ola Mobility rather. It is the category that we have just recently moved into, and is pretty much the only category that we're not a leader in, and we're looking to build bridges. So you could say in the hot seat at the moment. And the reason I went through this entire progression is just to tell you that change is inevitable, right? It could be like I move through paths across various industries with one singular theme. It could be very deep within a particular industry like some of my other panelists are. But I think it's about how each of you or each one of you adapt to how this change happens and constantly stay in touch with what you need to be doing in life, identifying your purpose and then moving ahead with that, right? So I think digital transformation is here to stay. Transformations of all manners are here to stay, and I think it's about you being in touch with that and investing time, energy into that, right, to learn what it is about. Now I will get into what I feel on the sales piece. Like Pratish was talking about how digital transformations help. Like in 2010, for example, if you ran a retail sales network and you're sitting in head office as a product manager, you want to understand what is the inventory of, let's say, a new mobile phone that you launched pan-India. You would have no idea of understanding this. What is the daily sale that's happening for a new SKU that you've launched in the market? You would have no idea of knowing this. What you now know is that, hey, listen, in metro cities, in tier 1 cities, tier 2 cities, what is the adoption like? What is the opening stock like? It gives you real-time inputs into how to take business decisions on incentivization in terms of what to run as offers for your trade schemes. What kind of market shares are you gaining? Is the product actually a success? Are there features that you're getting back as inputs for product development and so on? So I think digital transformations really enable this. In 2008, it would require a national sales head. Like he said, you can run it from on Zoom. Yeah. A national sales head would have to go to 20 different states, go across all these markets, figure out his inputs, run multiple sales reviews. Those cycles have now really come down, completely driven by digital transformation. And I see this progressing even further going ahead, and these cycles being shortened tremendously. That's from a physical distribution perspective. I can speak a little bit more about what I see from, let's say, automotive retail, right? Or let's say earlier You used to walk into a dealership. They used to open up a big diary. You used to give your name, your phone number, and that's it. And someone used to keep calling you and say, "Sir, are you interested? Oh, we have this offer. Are you interested in buying?" And so on. The paradigm has shifted. Almost everyone, led by, I would say, our company too, have moved to extremely detailed CRM solutions, which help you to identify where's this customer coming from, what is their propensity to buy based on their feedback, the number of interactions that they've had. And if sitting in Bangalore on a particular day, I will know that, hey, listen, pan India across our 800 store network, we have had 6,000 walk-ins, out of which I believe the conversion rate on yesterday's or our previous set of walk-ins was X%. This level of data to be able to guide business decisions did not exist. But it does now exist. And I think these are just a small set of few examples about how digital transformations really enabling or helping you drive business change and profitability. Obviously, all this used to happen via multiple people, resources, etc. Some of those are changing in the manner that they are, but business is more efficient. And I think the only point that I want to talk about before I end this section specifically is that I think something that everyone sitting in this room needs to inculcate is how to read data. I think if there are a few core skill sets that you can take away from this, is that you will continue to, the longer you spend, as long as you're maybe not in marketing or copy, for example, you will end up spending a lot more time with data as you spend years in working. And I think right now, there's no better time to get acclimatized with it than now. I think that's the key takeaway on this.
Thank you, Sam. I think it touched upon two very important points. Finally covered an entire gamut of topics related to business transformation, which was very exciting to hear. One of the important things that he talked about was the fact that you have successes, you have failures, because that the cycle time has become smaller. So I think it's very important to look at success and failures in sales from the perspective of some of the business leaders, and one of them said, success is a lousy teacher because it seduces you into thinking that you're not going to fail. And I think it's also important, he talked about the second important thing was about the data part of it, which I thought would be a separate topic. We'll come back again on this, but I would invite Karan to take a different view, because it comes from a media sales to into a financial services marketing company, Paytm, which has gone through a lot of exciting journey and upheavals, and then again coming back into big force. So Karan's experiences in terms of, he also comes and meets some of you in terms of training you for your mock interviews, but I'd like to hear the business perspective from Karan, and then move on to Adobe and to our own SKF bearings to look at data-driven marketing and digital perspective. Over to Karan. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to start with one bit that change is the only constant. And we as a human race are very averse to change. कोई अपनी habit change करनी हो, उसमें हम 10 बारी सोचते हैं करें कि नहीं करें. So the only thing, or one of the pieces that I'd like to say is, don't be scared of change. Okay, adapt it. And in fact, all of you've been adapting to it unknowingly or subconsciously for decades to come. I believe that you guys are one of the most talented lot, because you know what content to discard and what to absorb, which actually helps you understand multiple varied sects of businesses or life, etc. Now, with that, I'd also like to talk about some success and failures, as Sir spoke of. Let me start by telling you that I didn't get a campus placement when I was at IMI. Back then, media never used to come to IMI. I don't know whether media does come in here. So that was my first failure. that I didn't crack, any of the interviews out here. So मतलब कहने का मतलब ये है कि घबराओ मत यार, अगर यहाँ नहीं मिलेगी बाहर भी मिल जाएगी. Okay, that's the first thing that you need to know. The second bit, I approached an individual who was a media veteran back then. His name is Mr. Raj Nayak. I had no idea whom I was speaking with. I just picked up the phone on him and I, told him ki, I believe that you're looking out for people at NDTV, and I'm fresh out of college. I'd like to, meet you and see if we can, join hands or something like that. I met him, and this was a cold call, mind you. He chose to meet me. I met him, and in 7 minutes, I cracked that interview. And after cracking that interview is when I got to know that I was speaking to the CEO of NDTV, which I had no idea of, while calling. So that was my first success point after that. 2.5 साल अपन NDTV में काम करा, लगा कि बहुत दिग्गज हो गए हैं, अपना काम शुरू करेंगे. So, the startup bug bit me back in 2007 when startups were not startups. I mean, did that for about 3 years. Didn't succeed. I won't call it a failure. I think I learned a lot out there. But couldn't scale it. Understood the reasons for it. Multiple reasons. Tried to adapt that. When I came back into mainstream again. Got through Times. वहाँ पे content बेचा. And that is when, for the first time, and I'm a non-techie, I do not understand technology very comfortably. But in 2016 is when I joined Hotstar. And that was my first introduction to digital as an ecosystem, of me continuing to believe that I was not imbibed to be, to be functioning on the digital side of the journey. So that was my digital transformation. Hello. Yeah. Fortunately, I was a part of the team that built Hotstar from scratch. So my 0 to 1 journey actually started there. And I did pretty well, built businesses, built processes, and took it to a scale. And Hotstar is what Hotstar is as of date. Back then, that was perhaps the only OTT outside of YouTube which existed. And Netflix was kind of entering into India. And Netflix, of course, was a paid subscription model. And this came in as a AWOD or a free service piece. And then finally at Paytm, I was brought in to again build the marketing services business from scratch. And what helped us build this business was the plethora of data understanding that Paytm had, basis their user transactional behaviors, both online, offline, as well as on the Paytm app, which transformed me from being a sales guy to a solution-centric chap. Post which I started selling solutioning. Okay, so the reason I've spoken about my journey out here is that I've continued to change and possibly upskill myself from time to time without really believing or worrying about whether I would succeed or fail. My entry into digital with Hotstar, I had no idea about digital, but ended up building that as a piece. So to kind of sum it all, what I intend to push to you guys is that forget about digital transformation. Continue to transform yourself. Don't be afraid to make changes in life. We have more than enough people out here who have switched businesses, categories, verticals, and have succeeded massively. So don't stop yourself. I mean, our mind is perhaps the first negative blocker for us कि हम खुद ही सोचते हैं यार हम ये काम नहीं कर पाएंगे. So don't believe in that. If you lose out on an opportunity, that's not the end of the world. Number 2, not all decisions in life are the right decisions. So even if you end up taking decisions which are not perfect for you, you will eventually, come to speed in life. and be quick enough to make decisions at times. Because वो गाड़ी बड़ी जल्दी निकल जाती है. Now, let me take in, I'll just take 1 more minute on this. Talking about Paytm specifically out here, we had 2 major turning points for Paytm, as an entity. One was 8th of November 2016, which is the day of demonetization, when we taught the consumers to go digital first. And the second touch point was maybe the 23rd of March 2020, which was the day the entire country went into a lockdown, where we taught the merchants to take in a digital first approach. Why could we do that? Because A, we identified that opportunity. We were not scared about making changes. Number 2, we were quick enough to react and act on it in a fashion. We still call ourselves, the game changer. I mean, we've changed the fintech story in India. We brought in the fintech story in India. So that's what I want to say. I hope.
Thank you, Karan. We'll come back to you on this. I think it's very exciting. The words and the pearls of wisdom came out. Bruce Lee said before dying, he said, all fixed patterns lead to inability to change, adaptability. And the truth of the world, which we can see out a galaxy of stars who are here, is about their ability to go outside the fixed patterns. The second important thing is about which I would like to him to address from Adobe, Pranjal, would be about role of analytics into bringing this change, which is very, very, very important now. I think you guys are all studying analytics and a lot of subjects, and there's a minor specialization. I think analytics is not the way analytics. We'd like to have a practitioner's view from you and also others to react to it. If any one of you would like to add any point to it, because we've come close to now about half an hour into this summit. Very, very important, because I think it's about this unknown guy, unknown company that can just flip you out of the top ladder. So the best sportsman has to fear whom? The second best sportsman? No. It is the unorthodox, new, avant-garde, new technique that came out of nowhere or from analytics or from wherever, from a data-driven marketing, is what the topmost companies fear the most. Over to Pranjal for his exciting talk. I think he said a lot of things which I learned from him during that interaction. I would like him to now talk to these young future managers, to his words of wisdom on the topic of analytics into business of sales.
Thank you, Professor, for the opportunity. And I think I have a slightly sore throat, but will try my best. Everything that you heard about digital transformation is being fueled by the solution that Adobe is providing. So my job is very easy right now to just talk about, go to the Adobe's website, look at everything that they are providing under digital experience business, and you know all. That's it. But if you look at the overall value chain of any digital transformation, it starts with make, and there are 4 M's. So I'm in an MBA college right now, so I'll give you a 4M for you to remember. Make, which is about creating digital content. Manage, where you are going to store it, where you are going to retrieve it when you need it. Measure, you can't improve something if you're not measuring it. And last but the most important, monetize. Even if you have everything, how are you going to do the monetization? So 4 M's are very important. And one of the reasons when I say we are pioneers, and I'm right now talking from Adobe's perspective, is because we are the only organization in the world right now who has very deep expertise and the solution depth in all this value chain, from make, manage, measure, and monetize. So that's the digital transformation part of it. Now coming to analytics, because that's the core of what I've been doing at least for the last 10 years. At the onset, the most important part for any analytics team is to ensure that whatever insight they are producing is not only meant for their executives to get prepped for their leadership meeting. And I'll put a lot of emphasis on this because at times when you will go into analytics roles, become business analyst, you will work for first 2-3 years. You are expected to churn out a lot of insights. You are expected to look at same data into so many different angles, mad angles, if anybody remember, bingo. We do it all the time. If you're doing it only for the sake of doing it for QBR presentations and business reviews, you are not at the right track. If those analytics is actually translating into actions, and those actions are well informed, data driven, backed, that's the holy grail of analytics. So when it comes to data driven insights, I'll just take 2 examples so that I can illustrate my point. Retention and new customer acquisition. Everybody understands, right? Customer retention and new customer acquisition. What is the most limited thing that you have? It is resources. You can never have unlimited resources, whether in the form of salespeople, whether in the form of technology, whether in the form of servers, whether in the form of laptops. Anything and everything is limited, right? So what do you need to do? Optimize. What it means is prioritize. How do you prioritize? So if I have to go, and let's say if I take an example of, let me take a mobility example. So if you become, let's say, the sales head of North region, okay, you have got a quota. Now you can go ahead and start doing some kind of a mapping of, okay, customer segmentation. You need to start from understanding who are you going to sell to, what you are going to sell, and how you are going to sell. And every single step you will need analytics. How this will help you is because you need to understand what your customer segments are. You need to understand which channel you will be the most beneficial for you to reach that particular customer segment. So if you have a HNI customer, you may not even use email campaigns to reach out to them. None of them actually reads their Gmails anymore. You need to know what is the true moment of truth for your customers are. This is just one example. Customer retention is another example. Very briefly, it is already well known that it is 10 times cheaper or 20 times cheaper to retain a customer rather than acquiring a new customer. That is so true. We are in the business of enterprises, which means enterprise customers have a lot of stickiness, but if they do not renew at the end of the year, that is directly hitting my top line. For retention, analytics plays a very important role. If I know throughout the journey of my customer, from the day they sign the contract to the time they get onboarded, from onboarded till what is their usage, what has been their usage pattern in the last 6 months, if I am able to give them some early signals, let's say towards the time the renewal is coming, 3 months prior to that, this customer may be in red. Why? Because they have not been using our product to the extent that they are supposed to be because of the entitlement they have, right? I'm giving you a SaaS example. SaaS, everybody understands subscription as a business, right? Or software as a service as well. Now, these are the kind of insights which I cannot imagine having 10, 15 years back, because you just sold the contract to a customer. You will just wait for them to have a negotiation at the end of the contract period for the renewal. Now, as a sales guy, you know your customer more than your customer knows you. And this is the holy grail of analytics. If we are able to get to that point wherein I am able to give all the insights to my sales guy more than what even the customer is doing, I think that's where they can do wonders, and that's what we are trying to do. So I'll
thank you. Thank you very much on the holy grail of the customer insight. Lisa Fortini wrote it in 1976-77 in a book, one of the bestsellers, Hitting the Sweet Spot, on customer insights. I'm going to be now introducing the next speaker, who has not only looked at digital transformation but has been the leader in transformation and moved from one company to the other from a transformation part of it. I'd like to invite him with a quote: "Let go of certainty. The opposite isn't uncertainty. It's openness, curiosity, and willingness to embrace a paradox." And after we are through with him for this particular point of discussion, we'll have a 1.5 minutes round on innovation. I think it's very, very critical to look at, and each speaker to quickly join that and then go on to the next big pillar of discussion. Over to Saurabh, please.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Batra. I am, first of all, very grateful for this opportunity. I'm here at the same place where I was in 2007. I graduated from IMI. So I really feels touched. I'll just try and share, and while sharing my lessons and something that I learned over, I'll also try and remove the anxiety at times that we all go through in terms of how our placements, how our career are going to shape up. So, being an IT professional to begin with from a pedigree, I moved to financial services from the campus. At the same time, I would just want to share that whenever you move into a new job, you may have to at times find your own purpose in terms of what is the gap that you're trying to fill in. You may have to really put some kind of thought process. You have to think quite a lot when you get into a new job. You will have to create it like a success by doing that. So when I moved into financial services, like with Kotak Mahindra Bank in Ludhiana, the opportunity that I saw was to hone and strengthen a very strong ability to sell products which I don't like. And especially one of them was financial products. I studied about them. I learned. At the gap I filled in was a lack of knowledge in that market. I was selling it to CEOs, CXOs of companies like Eastman, Middleman, Trident, Hero. So these were my customers, and so were customers like big, huge association of doctors. So that's one purpose that I found. Somehow my passion led me to Castrol, where I learned very strong fundamental of how to solve problems. And that is one of the most instrumental things that I learned and picked up from Castrol. Whatever problem you face, how do you problem solve? That's a very strong ability. And irrespective of the jobs that you do, that's a very strong ability to solve for either your customer or to grow a particular business. I hail from highly traditional industries. And while we are talking about evolution, digital transformation and things like those, finally an organization always wants to grow business. How do we grow business? What I understood also from a short stint at PepsiCo was we grow business by learning, not just by problem solving, but also looking at an approach. So what I learned from there was how do we really take care of our sources of growth and work around that. So work also around side that how do we retain our customers. And I talk about companies where we don't even see our customers at times. So this is B2C, hardcore general trade. Our customers are on the streets. So how do we transform? How do we ensure that we are there at a place where customer is buying? So that's where we learned, Castrol being one of the first companies to venture into creating a loyalty program for mechanics. And then it was followed by rest of the companies which really focus upon influencers like Asian Paints and any other companies into electric goods with electricians and things like those. So we, ventured into creating this, something created through population of smartphones. These smartphones enable every mechanic, every electrician to have a loyalty program. And that's how we know through the data analytics now, where is actual thing happening? Where is the consumption being driven? So with technology from companies like Adobe, with the thought process, these traditional companies are also evolving and trying to be edge ahead of competition. And that's how they take care of how do they grow their business. Finally, a very traditional thing on how do we grow business. We grow business by increasing our customers, a very simple parameter. Then we grow by telling them that there is a new category to buy. And then making sure that they buy more. Or you acquire, or these are the organic ways of growing the business. So digitalization actually enables the speed. But how do we problem solve is the core fundamental. And the biggest change which I felt was that beyond the fact that we are digitalizing, the biggest challenge that I face today is how do I ensure the cultural change within the organization? Because I work with set of people and employees which are very old into the system. They have to adapt to technology. And when they have to adapt to technology and I bring in a new thing, how do I make sure that they are also onboarded? They don't have the challenges and at the same time the conflicts which may come in terms of the envisioned path of an organization to grow. Yeah. So these are the things which I went through in terms of learning and finding my own purpose. Today, I'm working exactly at the same point where I have to create that cultural change to happen and make sure that the whole organization adapts to it. So that's been my journey and that's been my learning as well. And thank you, Dr. Batra.
Thank you very much. I think it was very exciting to not only look at the transformation through digital and analytics, but also transformation in oneself to be able to drive that change. One of the important things Colin Powell said was, you're no longer leading if you don't put your butt into the change part every day. Very, very important. It came out very, very clearly. Now we'll have a 1.5 minute with your permission, everyone's permission, a small round, and then we can come back to one more pillar, which is the mundane part of sales, which is omni-channel, customer-centric approach. So I would request you to speak about innovation or anything which you left out in analytics.
On the last bit, while the discussion was going, couple of things came in my mind
Please.
on analytics, and I just wanted to touch upon. So there are two bits I would love to touch. First bit is that today, for example, on the power of analytics, in Pine Labs we today support roughly around 12 lakh stores across the country. When we go to meet merchants, which are mid-sized merchants and everyone, and the first line that comes in sales very often is that, "Aur sir, kaisa chal raha hai dhanda?" That's the first line which you speak. And after 12 years of sales, that comes very naturally. You know, most of the time the reward that we get is that, "Sir, you have all the data, you know it better than us." So that is a very remarkable, powerful point that is there. And we should always remember with data analytics, we know that exact thing for all our vendors, for our customers, for our merchants. How is the business going? You know better than the guy. First point on that. And the second thing, Professor Batra touched around that the success and failures. Now I manage a team of roughly around 670 odd folks on the ground. You know, earlier it was that after a month we would call it a successful month or a non-successful month, or a failed month or something like that. Now what has happened with data is that there is no called success or failure. It is either a mini success or a mini failure. What it means that there is no overall failure or success that is happening. When you break things into 10,000 data points, even for a 700 member team, you know that, okay, Orissa has not done good, but parts of it has done good, and these are the 4 things that we have done good, 6 things that we have to improve. So suddenly the whole thing changes for us. And that's what I see. That's very important to understand, that life has become easy in that part, but life has become difficult, that there is no absolute success or failure. It's mini success, mini failure.
Lovely. Thank you very much. I also saw Sam scribbling down, so I'd request him to talk about the data part of it and also innovation, which we'll go through that a minute and a half, a quick round of pointers on that. Over to Sam.
Sure. Actually, I was just listening very attentively to what Pranjal said. He seemed to have summarized growth, acquisition and growth in a very succinct manner, and I think it's a short masterclass to look at. Right? And I was just picking up, and you know, it's actually not jargon. It's work that people do day in, day out. You're looking at cohorts, you're looking at how cohorts are performing, you're looking at what retention rates of cohorts are, and designing monetization strategies for these cohorts or retention strategies for these cohorts. So it's you will end up doing it everywhere, especially if you are in that kind of a business, let's say a consumer tech business or a SaaS business or so on. So a lot of inputs that came in from Pranjal. I think maybe someone should connect with him to do a detailed breakdown session on this.
But definitely invite him for a workshop on.
But yeah, the point I also wanted to just come back to is also just wanted to call everyone, right? We're talking a lot about data and a lot of data, but then it's always good. Data great to get out insights, but just acting on an insight might not be the final solution. You do need to go back to your customers or go back to the market and test out these insights. Purely acting on data, if you were to purely act on data, we would not need people like you. I think a lot of this needs to go down to customers, market, test your insight. Insights could be wrong, but we look at data across partners, and like I run this bike taxi business. So we see certain set of cohorts of partners leaving us or coming to us or sometimes just going dormant. And then you think that, oh, somebody else has run a scheme and this is probably why they've moved to that platform and they're not riding with you. But when you do 12 calls, you get like 20 different reasons. And sometimes the guy's like, hey, listen, I found a new job, I've gone. And then you might have launched some massive new reactivation campaign to get these guys back on the platform. But that's not really the reason why this has happened. So it's always good to temper some of these analysis or insights with also real world dipsticks. And I think that's where a lot of judgment and acumen will drive you beyond people who, or your peers, or beyond people who you work along with. And that's what would possibly, take you to the next level. I think that's just one point I wanted to leave. And besides that, when Gaurav was talking about transformation, I've been part of movement from a legacy CRM solution to Salesforce in my current org. And I can completely hand on heart tell you that digital transformation will not succeed if everyone doesn't have a buy-in. Leadership could want to decide that, hey, listen, we will do Salesforce from tomorrow. And I will tell you, we've done this migration, and for 3 months, we were still doing Google Sheets. And it just didn't make sense. You invested so much on tech, so much on licenses, so much on dashboards, but these dashboards were just not getting used until somebody someday just, or collectively decides that, hey, listen, we've just built out this massive system. If you're not using it, we're wasting it. And then that is where conviction sets in. And it's mostly, I think, needs to be driven by leadership. But if it's not driven by leadership, it needs to be driven by the team. Maybe you have a quiet chat with leaders or management and so on, and say that, hey, listen, this is what we've got to do. And I think the largest aspect in some of these digital transformation, at least in the positions that you will end up working in, will be to get all stakeholders on the same page to start using these solutions. I think super critical. It is less talked about because it's taboo, because you've already bought the software.
We'll talk about it in the pillar part of it.
Yeah.
I think one more pillar is left, so request Karan to, very well said, that cohort thing came out very, very important, I think, for young managers. Karan, if you could throw some light on the innovation part, because you worked with small and big, like many others here. I was reading Tom Peters, an old consultant nowadays, not so hot anymore. He wrote about the fact that small makes it much more in terms of innovation, while big companies, which I would like Saurabh to also address, and Pranjal to address that issue. Small versus big, the David versus Goliath in terms of innovation, and that's leading to sales transformation. Over to very quick repartee from you.
Just help me. I went blank. Just could you just repeat this? I'm sorry.
My question is, you work with Hotstar and then to a Paytm, which was upcoming startup at that time you must have worked on. You think innovation is faster in a small company versus innovation is slower in a big company? David versus Goliath and leading it to sales.
Okay.
Quick repartee, maybe keep it to a minute and a half.
I think the answer to this lies with who your leader is, who's running the show out there. It's not a question of a big company versus a smaller setup. Of course, a smaller setup, typically a startup, is a lot of chaos, because you have to build processes, and processes help us in better decision making and the rightful decision making at times. But for innovation, to innovate is to experiment, to innovate is to take decisions, to innovate is not necessarily about inventions per se. So my answer is that it depends a lot on who your leader is, what the vision is, what direction you want to go, and basis that how are you empowering the people below into reaching to that goal.
Wonderful. Saurabh, if you could throw some light on the fact that you were looking at while you were driving this transformation, and you went to Exide and then you worked with these, mechanics, and then the same model got picked up later by many others. What is your thought on the innovation part of it, with SKF now wanting to move into something else? If you could throw that specific light and on the topic for a minute and a half, maybe.
Yeah, I'll be honest here in somehow articulating there are times in Indian context, innovation is a place where you reach after you are under a lot of pressure to do something different. That's a very hard way to put it, but most of the organizations are actually at times under a pressure to do something different. However, they may bounce upon an idea, which is also a very good thing, which actually creates an innovation, creates a very huge differentiation in how the product is marketed. I'll give you an example. Exide or Amaron or any other battery probably. We had warranties, a system of governing warranty. So this system of governing warranties just 4 years back probably was all based on a paper. You buy, you have a receipt, and this receipt governs your warranty. Today, for both the companies, this is all paperless. You just need to scan a QR code in the car and you directly land to a page which shows you which was the year it was manufactured, whether it is under a warranty or not. Now this actually emanates from the fact that customers used to find it extremely difficult. On how do I trace where I bought it from? I can't go to the same shop and I can't get my warranty governed. And I mean, countries which are far more developed don't have this. Now they are copying this idea back in many countries like which are part of Eastern Europe and South America.
We leapfrogged.
Yeah, actually, we did far better at this. And then I personally believe that innovation, for that matter, in companies like which I worked for were very huge corporates like Shell and BP, which is Castrol. This also comes from the fact that how is the culture built up? Just like Karan felt and Karan shared about your line manager. I feel that it is much beyond. I feel it's about the culture of the organization. At times also dependent on how innovative they are in terms of their thought. How do they really want to expand and how do they back up, while it also means that you need to have somewhat deep pockets.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I think Pranjal, if you could throw some light on, I've been curious. Actually, you were talking to, Pratyush, and we were discussing in that room about Adobe becoming a giant, a lot of focus on compliance, a lot of insight. Do you think you could have innovated more with AI, etc., coming in, or you think more innovations will change the name of the game in a business that you are in? These are your personal views, not Adobe's.
Yeah, it's a very loaded question. I can't speak about the strategy of Adobe. I think
yes,
much beyond my pay grade. But I'll talk about in terms of what you control, the whole, the circle of influence and the circle of control. In large organizations, and typically at Adobe also, I can talk about projects which are sizable. And when I am talking about sizable, which has a much wider impact, will have layers of decision makers and influencers. The problem is with cajoling, convincing, and then keep them committed. It's a top-down approach. I think, Karan, you mentioned about it from a leadership perspective, that leadership commitment, prolonged commitment, taking it to the closure is, I think I can't emphasize enough on this point. We ourselves, like at Adobe, we started a transformation project. We are moving away from SFDC SAM and we are moving to Microsoft Dynamics. This project started 3 years back. We are not even 50% through. This is going for next 3 years. In 6 years, there are so many companies which will come, they will go to the peak and they may wind up their business as well. So imagine the level of change management and the commitment that is required from a leadership to drive this kind of a transformation project. Now talking about the innovation, I firmly believe that if you want to move fast, go alone. If you want to, go far, and I think it's a famous thing, if you want to go far, you have to take people along. The challenge with most of these transformation projects is because you need to have multi-team collaboration. But innovation is not always about doing different things. It is also about doing the same thing differently. And it's a mindset change. There are companies who are legacy. They are doing digital transformation. They are not digital first. versus the new gen companies that you might have seen in the last 4 5 years, 10 years maybe, their mindset is digital first. So the resistance to change in a legacy company moving from the whole innovation part has a very different problem to solve versus a company which is a new age and a digital first mindset. The challenges will remain, challenges will be there, but the flavor of challenges will change. So at Adobe, I'll give you a very quick example on the AI because you talked about AI. So last year, we actually won the Smartathon. It's a kind of a hackathon event wherein all we did was we picked up a use case of a sales guy. And the use case of a sales guy is enterprise business. You are talking to customers who are like, first of all, big enough, like more than $100 million companies, and you are meeting CXOs and CEOs and those things. What do you need to do is you need to do a lot of prep, and that prep is not something that you can just have 2 sales calls in a day. You will have 1 sales call maybe in 15 days, so you need to prepare for it. How much time it takes? Like you will have to go through at least 10-15 different documents to really prepare for it. You need to do battle cards, you will have so many different presentations, you will have domain specific presentations. The enablement team has enough for you to be glued to your screen for 10 days to prepare a deck of, let's say, 3-4 slides. What we did, we picked it up. We used large language model. We created a very simple tool wherein you can just upload all the 10 documents in one go. And what you have to now do is you have to just frame the questions that you have in the form of prompts. And it was a very simple thing. It was probably the most basic use of a LLM that we did. And mind it, till that time, our own product Acrobat has not used LLM to provide this functionality. So we were even ahead of the curve of Adobe as a product, and we were doing it internally at Adobe. Why we were able to do it? Because we were a team of, I was there and along with me and a couple of folks, and we were participating in a hackathon, and we were able to quickly do it in, let's say, 3-4 days. And we were able to really, make it ready for people to use as well. But for a larger organization to make everything ready, it will take time. So that time function is about that scale. If you are big enough, you will need time to do it.
I've got a request from them to wind it up by maybe 10 minutes early. So what we'll do is, we'd also like to keep some questions towards the end. So the last round of the last pillar, as we were planning, we'll go a little quick on that with a request to all of you. I think the senior people are here and would like to get the benefit of your experience. So the 2 topics that come to my mind, and if you think that's very relevant to the discussion for today, one of it is customer experience. And so Bill Gates said that you learn from your most unhappy customers. The other part of it is, as Pratish was talking about, the multi-channel part of it. So omni-channels are here to stay. We were discussing the paradox of quick commerce coming in and suddenly changing, and people like me thinking, "Jab tak maze aa rahe hain, lete raho." You keep on, and while it will not last. This was a quick discussion I had with one of the students after a class yesterday, which he disagreed with. So we look at the paradox of multi-channel, and also the customer experience, which is changing in context of the AI, because you're all leading sales teams with vast sales teams. So I'll start with Pratyush, go to Sam, and then to others, and then take questions for maybe 8-10 minutes, and we'll be able to manage time well. Over to Pratyush. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. So customer experience has changed a lot since Amazon, I will say. And I will take this name very specifically. When I remember back 5 years, 7 years back in Castrol, a customer would wait for us for 5 days to come and service him. Amazon changed everything for 3 lakh pin codes. Today, a customer does not want to wait, full stop. He feels that everything needs to be done at a click of a button. So now, if you are in service, you need to transform yourself. Okay, first thing first. The second thing is that no customer service is happening today at an one channel way. No one is waiting for a call center to pick up the call to be serviced. When was the last time you went to a bank branch, probably in this room? That's the whole point. It would be decades maybe, you would have never gone even. So the first thing, omni-channel is there to stay. Because we all are omni-channel. If we have to search something, we search on every platform. So I'm linking omni-channel to customer service. So today I will give you an example. If you are going to a PVR, for example, okay, what was your last purchase?
Popcorn?
No, not at PVR, anywhere in general.
Okay, so generally from quick commerce platforms.
Quick commerce platform. Suppose the quick commerce platform payments are just down. You'd switch off to something else and buy from there. As simple as that. No one is waiting. So if your customer service is not in the moment 24/7, you are gone. Now think about a payments company. Okay. Today we support roughly a payments of say 50,000 odd CR on a monthly basis. Okay. Roughly 5,000 crores of EMI happens on a monthly basis. Okay. So if we are down for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds also, it would be a nationwide issue. If there is you are standing, suppose just think around that. We talk about national infrastructure in terms of highways. Just imagine you are going to your hometown, your mother is not well, you are at the airport, you rush to the airport, you go to Indigo, and suddenly someone says that the POS is not working. In the customer service slide, it was so at a 0.999999 percentage के बाद का एक 10 जीरो के बाद का 1% transaction failure. But for you, it would be a question whether you met your mother or you didn't meet it. And for that, the negative sentiment remains for always. The same goes to a merchant. Okay? If a merchant is sitting and he has not got a transaction, you are sitting at a mobile store in a tier 2 metro, tier 2 town, okay? You are waiting the entire day for a customer to land to your store. And if the payment fails at that moment, and you miss that one customer from whose sale you were thinking to earn 10% from that 10,000 rupees phone and take back 1,000 rupees and give your child's fee, for that moment, PineLab becomes an enemy for you. So that's the power of a customer service today. That's the importance of customer service, first and foremost. And that's coming from a salesperson. So understand that today, a customer service is also omni-channel. If a telephone call is not getting picked, do you have an IVRS channel? If IVRS is not working, do you have a WhatsApp chatbot? If WhatsApp chatbot is not working, do you have a direct solve for parameters? The fourth thing, if you are sitting in a remote channel, if you are sitting in a remote parameter, can the POS machine be picked basis technology through remote terminal routing and the problem be solved by online engineers sitting in Noida? If you don't have all this, then you are as a company would fail within the next 1 year. And this could go across channels. I can talk at length what we did at OYO, for example. While we can question everything in and out, just imagine at any point of time, 1,60,000 or 1,80,000, what's the current number? I'm not sure. Lakhs of rooms getting on the device, sold on the device. You try to check in and you find that the room is not available because there was some mistake done by a customer service team somewhere where they blocked the room and didn't unblock the room. So you are stranded at 11:30 at night without a room and you have an interview tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. So you don't sleep, you miss that job and you're gone. A person walking from a tier 2 town. Again, if it is just a calling team, just an IVRS, just a thing, it is gone. So omni-channel and customer service. Omni-channel is in sales also, but I am just touching upon mixing both the pointers. Omni-channel and customer service is there to stay and it's becoming very, very critical. It's becoming real time. And for anything real time, it cannot be dependent upon one platform. So how do each one of us imbibe that on a day-to-day basis is very important and very critical in our mind.
Thank you, Pratyush. I'd request Sam to throw the last, because this is the last round, so get the benefit of his wisdom on these two topics. And also the fact that I keep on telling my students, sale lost is lost forever nowadays. Over to Sam on this beautiful topic of sales service and online channels.
Yeah, I think Pratyush was talking about customer service, I think he went fairly deep on that. I don't think I have a different opinion on that. It's absolutely critical to be available to your customers because they've actually placed their trust in you as a product. And if you're not there, it's not that they're going to come back to you. But I'd like to take some time to talk about omni-channel. I think pretty much when I was maybe 10, 12 years back, or about 15 years back, it was fairly unheard of. It wasn't a buzzword. I remember selling recharge coupons in remote places. I don't know if any one of you has ever used a recharge coupon where you not people on the stage, people off the stage. That's what I did for a very long time. You could see that shift happening then. Now telecom as a business you will not find a recharge coupon in a store. You can do it on your phone on any one of these apps. So that's how the paradigm shifts. But has consumption gone away? No. Has the number of people or has the quantum of business that all the telcos in India gone away? No. Same analogy, right? I think consumption in India is here to stay. It will only continue to increase. At what scale, what level, I'm not really sure, but not an economist, so wouldn't be very sure. But the signs seem to say that they're here to stay. And at what rate is anybody's guess, depending on the category. But the channels, I think this is where it becomes very important for you. I think earlier on, people who you could deal with being an expert in offline, but it's no longer the case. If you're a D2C product, you need to have distribution, like solid distribution. You also need to have availability and the right pricing on e-com platforms, and off late be available also on quick commerce. So I think it's a large channel, and that's how it's all playing out. And I just want to bring one anecdote in here, because we were having a chat with a couple of very, very large e-com channels for launching one of our products. And I think the second slide of that meeting really hit me, because they were not talking about how much I'll be able to sell on their platform. They were just talking about the fact that they are the next largest search source for any product being sold. So for example, if you're buying a laptop, other than Google, the next possible largest source is, let's say, an Amazon or a Flipkart. That's how important some of these channels are. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you will go and buy, say, a iPhone. You might look at a lot of information. Apart from the brand's page and a few reviews, the next page you'd go to see reviews of maybe not an iPhone, other model, would be a lot of these reviews. And you might just walk into a mobile phone store close to your house and buy it. So it's going to be fuzzy, channels are going to be fuzzy, but you need to have a strategy for each of these channels. That's all that I have.
Thank you. Karan, I would like you to specifically, while answering this general part in next 2 minutes, focus on, while your role is different in terms of media sales, but you've worked with Paytm for quite some time. So cost of sales with so many affiliate marketing channels that you have, and providing the kind of customer service that customer expects, as Pratyush and Sam were very beautifully talking about. Could you throw some light on that? I'll be grateful. Thank you.
I'll come to that, but I just wanted to add one bit. From a marketer's lens, if I have to look from an advertising perspective, omni-channel as an approach is very, very critical, but the journey is broken at this point for us. For me, the definition of omni-channel is I touch point to an individual online and am able to gauge whether the transaction eventually happened in an offline ecosystem. If this entire journey from online to offline is connected, then we have plethora of data lying with us to solve for the piece. But in my opinion, at this point, I mean, it's a marketer's, I won't call it a nightmare, but a limitation with which all of them are functioning, that we at some point, in some bits and pieces, are away from information or data collection on how whether that sale eventually converted either from an online to offline or from an offline to online coming in. So yeah, for us, we're still trying to figure out as to how do we solve for this, but that's the need of the hour, not just in India but across. And if through some tech we're able to solve for it, through some licensing softwares, if we're able to build in, it's going to be a game changer, and then sky's the limit on that. To your question, I'm not too sure whether I'm entitled to.
Very quick comment. It's not that I wanted to speak on it, but a very quick comment on when you have so many affiliates working, how do you manage the cost while keeping the customer happy at the end of it?
Do you want to elaborate a little as to what exactly do you mean by?
You have so many affiliates working with ATM channel.
Yeah. By affiliates, you mean merchants?
Yeah, merchants.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
okay,
Sorry, the terminology is not clear.
okay. So that cost of sales becomes an important issue vis-a-vis customer happiness.
I think it's a question out of the box, as in outside of the course material. I'm not too sure that I have an answer to this, from a payment or a financial services perspective.
No, not an issue.
Yeah, so
I'll put it up in the question answer session.
Yeah.
So I'll request Saurabh to talk about these two very quick issues, and we'll come back to Karan on this.
I'll try to be as simple so that everybody comes onto the same page to understand. I first believe that customer service, the way it has evolved over the last 6-7 years, it has become a vertical on its own within the organizations. Today, an organization, whether product or service, they get differentiated by customer service and customer experience. If you have an edge there, people might still not choose a better branded, better marketed product. They might just go with a better service product. Better customer service is a point of differentiation these days. At the same time, I think there is a question that you asked in terms of how do we spend money. I would rather choose companies have to be extremely cautious about not spending too much on marketing and giving equal weight to customer experience and customer service. So that's one very strong point that I personally believe from the learnings of many organizations and startups which might have gone into a difficult situation. And at the same time, looking at e-commerce, quick commerce and things like those, I just find it a very small, parallel thing to see. It is a way to reach more consumers, just like the same traditional fundamental of reaching more number of customers. It's a marketplace, and it is a way to reach as much possible, as many number of customers as possible. So it will stay. So thus, omni-channel, as we call it, probably will something which I personally believe has now got embedded there in our business. So that's how. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Could I have Pranjal talk about the last word? Well, we'll have a 5 minutes question answer session because I think they have a summit at 7 o'clock with UTI, right? So we'll manage time. But I would request him to speak on the customer service and the omni-channel part and spend 2 minutes on it because this is very, very critical and he has a lot of insights which he was sharing with us during the interaction. Thank you.
Yeah, I know I'm being sensitive of time. Customer experience for us was about the day we stopped selling product and we started selling solution. The day we started owning the outcome, which is the experience of the customer. And I'm not saying it just for the heck of it. We actually changed our business model in 2012-13, wherein we said that we're not going to sell those CDs, the Photoshop. I don't know if you guys have used Photoshop as a CD. Back then it was, this is how you used to get. And in one hostel, all you need is one CD. That time, and I'm being, honest about it, we were snobbish enough to just say that I don't care. You just bought the product and you are not going to come back and buy the upgrade in next 2-3 years. So you go your way, I go my way, I will find another customer. The things changed from 2012 and that's where we said, and more than customer experience, I would say customer centricity for us. Customer centricity is all about putting your customer at the right in the middle of every decision that you take in your organization. And from there, we moved from selling a product to a solution, and that has translated into better retention rate for us, given the model that we have today.
Right, wonderful. Thank you very much. I had a esteemed panelist, but I'd like to have a very quick few questions if we are allowed. Geetika, is that okay? Okay. 4 or 5 very quick questions to the panelist, and we could have the benefit of their experience. Nothing is as... Okay, 2 questions, 4. Okay, 4. Ashutosh. Nothing is as strong as an idea whose time has come. Okay? Victor Hugo once said, and we are going to change the way we outlook, have our business and sales has changed. Questions, please. Very quick one questions. We are running out of time. Please. Yeah.
This question is for you. In case of Ola, there were many downturns and then there was no discount offered. So as a sales operation guy, how do you make sure operations are running smoothly in sales department?
Lovely.
There's a lot of planning that goes. I mean, I'll make it very, very... I don't think Dr. Batra is going to let me, but
No.
I think...
No, we could carry on the discussion.
Yeah, we could, yeah. Yeah, so but the essence is a lot of second order thinking. And I think everyone should read up about second order thinking in general, and you should probably imbibe it. It's not about what you're setting out to do. It's about thinking about what the implications of what you do are. You might be wanting to launch a sale, but then anticipating what all else needs to be done to take that live, or what the implications are very important. And I think that's what every company does. And I think, yeah.
I think council is here, so we'll must invite Sam on this second order thinking. It's very, very important. I think it's very critical. This question was very important, and so was, wish we had more time to take it into details. The question number 2. Any other question? We run out of ideas?
No, everyone's scared of you.
No.
Or the student council. So, there are the 2.
Oh, student council ne bola aur nahi puchna. Please quickly, 2 questions. We'll need to then vacate the hall, I know. So 2 quick questions. Yes, please. Over to her. Yep.
Let's have 1 question, but we'll give it. So, yeah.
Okay.
As somebody who's majoring in human resource, I wanted to know how people fit in this channel of business development, sales, and constant change, and then driving the $7 trillion
Lovely
economy.
Question. Would like any specific panelist to ask, or
I think everybody, whoever is.
So, yeah, over to the panel, please. Yeah.
So I will take this up. So first and foremost, sales is nothing without people. Okay. So 600 odd people, your maximum of the time goes in change management and making people understand. So whenever you talk about raising digital change, when you have decided that this will change or this is going to transform, you start people backwards. In fact, when you think of a transformation also, you start looking at what are the people doing, how is the change going to bring a change in the lives of the people. So you take up the entire value chain, for example. If I pick up a entire value chain of sales, it starts from pre-sales. How can digital help in pre-sales? iLeads is the thought process, generating lead factory. Okay, when you do a sale, how can you ensure that everything, every onboarding, every document collection, every KYC can be done through video, everything. So that's again a help, because you don't have to knock at the merchant's outlet at 9 o'clock to take a final document of Aadhaar. You can just take the basic document through the government site and do it fundamentally. So at every value chain, people become core of it. So if any change is not helping or making the life better of the sales team, it is that change will eventually fail. Full stop.
Saurabh, you wanted to say something? And then Karan, maybe you could quickly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, just to add to Pratyush, I would just want to give a different perspective to this on how people are right now being hired in organizations. While there is a thing called competency and something that you bring to the table, that's post that, once evaluated, what is required is actually the main crux is being adaptable and being fluid. So people who are fluid and adaptable they would go longer, large, and achieve much more and much better. And that's how HR and organizations evaluate and nurture talent. So that's how, just to add to.
Karan, anything you would like to add?
I just want to say that हम सब लोग sales कर रहे हैं, irrespective whether you're an engineer or a banker or whatever. Throughout your day, your year, the only thing that you're doing is selling. Okay, right now we guys sitting here are trying to sell whatever the shit. Oh, sorry for the word, but whatever that we were talking of. आप इंटरव्यू देने जाओगे, आप लोग अपने आप को बेच रहे होगे वहाँ पे, ठीक है? आप जब HR BP बनोगे या CHRO बनोगे, तब आप अपनी कंपनी को बेच रहे होगे, to the potential candidates out there. So at all points, all of us are doing sales and will continue to do sales, whether offline, online, in personal, professional. So yeah, that's.
Pranjal, last remark, pearls of wisdom, fleeting moments, ending the day.
Chatbots will never run a company. It will human do. That's it.
All right. So that brings us to an end to the discussion. I hope no more questions. Okay, fine. So because Ashutosh is giving very bad stares. I think we had a very good session, which we must also invite some of these doyens with such multitude of experiences. It takes me to this famous quote which I use in the classes also. So greatest danger is not that we aim too high and miss it, but that we aim too low and get it always. Thank you very much. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming over and thank you for such a lively audience sitting there throughout and patiently listening to us. Thanks a ton.
Esteemed faculties, respected guests, and future leaders, with this, we conclude the Sales and Business Development Summit. We are sure that the session has been very enlightening for each one of us present here. I request Professor D.K. Batra to kindly felicitate our esteemed guests, Mr. Sam Chandy, Mr. Pratyush Raj, Mr. Gaurav Verma, Mr. Pranjal Srivastav, Mr. Karan Jara, Now, I invite the Joint Secretary of the Academics Committee, Harshit Tewatia, to felicitate our moderator, Professor D.K. Batra. So as we wrap up with this inspiring summit, it is my honor to invite our esteemed guests to the stage for a group photograph. Their exceptional contributions and profound insights have greatly enriched our experience, truly unmatched. Yes, please. Yes, sir. Our profound gratitude. ठीक है.
Students are requested to please stay back for the attendance.